In this first video, I'm just going to show you some of the basic features of Pinnacle Studio. When you open up the software, you'll see the three tabs at the top, and these are the three areas that we typically work with. You've got a tab that you can import media into your project. Pinnacle Studio opens by default into the Edit area, which is what we're going to start working with here in just a minute. And then once you're done with your project, if you want to create a file to put out on YouTube, for example, you will use the Make Movie command. Um, there's a toolbox over here on the left that we're going to be using to do a few of the basic things in Pinnacle Studio today. And over here you've got your media player, so you can go back and forth and watch your media and make some adjustments to it. You've got a timeline down below that we'll be working with. There are some different viewing modes over here on the right hand side of the screen as well. You can click between those and you can see the different options. We've got the timeline view is usually what the default setting is. First part of the video, I'm just going to show you how you can add some video into Pinnacle Studio and do some basic editing. This screen that I'm in right now, there is a video clip here that I could drag down to my timeline, but if you don't have any media available or you want to go out and get a media clip that's stored on your computer, you can click on this folder right here, and of course you can browse to wherever your video is located. I'm just going to use the sample wildlife video. You can double click it and it'll pull it into this window so that you can work with it. And then it's just a matter of dragging and dropping to put the video down into your timeline. At any point you can use your player to watch it. I can scrub through up here, moving the timeline back and forth. There also is a little playhead here that can be used to kind of get to the point that you want to in your video. Example here, I can see the horses running, and let's say that I wanted to, there's some birds in the video, I wanted to take the birds out of the video. You've got a couple options for doing that. Up here you have a razor blade that allows you to, wherever you have your playhead in the video, it allows you to split the clip. So I'm going to click on the razor and it will split that clip in two. Then I could move the playhead forward, and I'm not being real precise here, but just kind of giving you a rough estimate here. I moved forward, and at that point, let's say I want to split the clip again. I'll click on the razor blade, splits it. So in this video clip then, I've split it into three parts. I can click on this middle clip and I can hit the delete and get rid of that part that I don't want. I could go further ahead in the video, and again, if I wanted to take out a portion of the video, you have the option of using that razor blade to split the clip. Once you've split it too, another option is you can double click a clip. I'm going to do that, double click, and it opens up a window, a video editing box. And so let's say there's a little bit at the beginning of the clip that I want to get rid of. I can move the playhead forward and get to a point in the video that I want this part right in here is being edited out of the video. And then I could also go to the end if there was some portion at the end that I want to get rid of. You've got the option to back up the player to edit out the parts that you don't need. They're still there. You can bring them back later if you need to by double clicking the clip and dragging them back to the left or the right. But for now I'm just going to close that, and it'll take me back in, and then I could go through and kind of scrub through to see how it's looking. If I took out what I needed to there, and could use my player to play things as well. The next thing that I'm going to show you is how you might want to add some text to your video. Usually you want some kind of a text probably as an introduction to what the video is going to be about. So you can put it at the beginning, you can put text in between clips, you can lay text over the top of video or pictures. And I'm just going to go to the text tool in the toolbox. And you've got some preset basically kind of templates that you can use. You can click on them. It'll show you over here to the right kind of what it's going to look like. You can look around, see if you find something that meets your needs. And they can be customized. So let's say I want that one. I can drag it down to my timeline. And of course I probably wouldn't want it at the end, so I'm going to drag it to the beginning. And you know, you can lay it over the top. I can move it down here to the text line 2, and it could go, we'll see if I can. It can go over the top of your video as well. So it's just a matter of where you want to place it. I'm going to double click it then. So one of the things I like about Pinnacle Studio is the ability to just double click something and you can go in and edit it. And over here on the right is a panel that you should just kind of experiment with. You want to put your own text in, so I'll just see if I can get this to change. Backspace here. Basically whatever you want it to say, and here's another text box, so I don't know if I like that one. I could get rid of it if I wanted to, and I should probably spell video correctly. Alright, and it's maybe a little bit too big for the size, so we can take that down. You've got different fonts. You can do, you know, apply some different attributes. You've got kind of some different styles here. If you wanted to change it up a little bit, you can do that. You also have some other options here. Click here, you can change your background to something different. You know, you can pull your own graphics in too. You've got some options to browse, and you know, if you found a background graphic maybe on the internet, or you made your own in Photoshop, you can pull that in. But you've got quite a few different options there for you as well. I guess it's here that we could go out, and if you had some pictures on your computer, you could pull some of those pictures in too. So it's just a matter of getting in there, playing around a little bit with things. Once you're done, you can close, and it's, you know, placed where you need it to be, and can kind of scrub your movie to see how it's looking, and can, you know, add more text boxes if you want to, and simple as double clicking to take you back in to make some changes to it if you need to change it up a little bit. Next thing I want to do is show you how to add some transitions. If you've got kind of a change in a scene, you can add transitions to your project. The transition choices are, you know, you just click on it and a number of choices are going to come up for you to look at. You've got 74 right within this first window, so generally those are the ones that you're probably going to start with. Kind of look around a little bit. You can see them tested over here. And it's just a matter of drag and drop. Let's say I want to transition between these two video clips. You drag it and drop it where you want it to be. You will double click it if you care to. You can go in and you can see how long the transition is set for. And this one is set for 2 seconds. With transitions, you do need, you know, enough video on either side for it to transition from one to the next. I'm going to double click this video clip and open that up. That video itself is only 2.27 seconds, so probably about a second of that transition is going to come into that video. So sometimes if your clips are too short, you don't want to put a transition in between. It's basically used for a change of scene and when you've got a little bit bigger clip to work with there. So I'll just go ahead and close that. Down below the video, I've got my volume turned off, but there is audio that's with this particular clip, and that audio shows up down here in this part of the timeline. Later on I'll show you how to make some changes to that. But let's say you don't want the audio at all. You can come over here to the right and just click on mute, and you're basically muting that track in the video clip. So you've got the capability to control the audio. Sometimes you take a video and you don't want the audio, you just want the video, so you can basically turn it on or you can turn it off over here. You've got the capability to lock a layer if you are done with that layer. I don't use that very often, but You know, if you are working on something and you can't get in and work with it, take a peek over here and you might see that by chance it got locked. In this next step, I'm going to show you how you can add still images in Pinnacle Studio. You know, primary reason we might use Pinnacle Studio is for video editing, but there's times you might want to pull in some still images as well. So in the toolbox, you can go to the camera and you can browse out to where you have some pictures on your computer. Let's see if and you've got this folder up here again, so you can browse to where you have some pictures and grab I'll just do the calendar here. If I hit open, oops, I guess I gotta select some pictures. So let's say I want this top row. All you have to do is, I guess, double click one of them and it'll pull all of them from that particular folder in. And then it's just a matter of dragging and dropping. If I want to add these pictures to my project, I can just drag them and drop them down there. Notice they have a check mark, and that indicates that those are going to be part of your project. And of course you can add a transition. I wouldn't get carried away with transitions, but if I wanted to transition between each of those pictures, I could do that as well. The pictures, you can double click them and it'll pull them up. The default is the pictures are going to stay in the movie for 4 seconds. If you want to up that, maybe that's a little bit too quick, you want the pictures to be there a little bit longer, you've got the option to do that. And of course, if you've got a picture that comes in sideways, you can rotate it here. Can fix some red eye. You might fix your red eye in Photoshop instead of in Pinnacle Studio, but you've got some basic options there as well. I'll go ahead and close that. So real easy to pull in pictures if you need to do that. There are some audio clips that are installed when you install the software. I'll click on show or the audio option here, and there's some different categories. So if you needed to add some different sounds, you've got some instruments and that. Not saying you'll find what you want there, but you can click on it and you can play it. I've got my sound muted, but let's say you find something that you kind of like that goes along with your project, you can drag it down here to the timeline and you can move it, you know, any place you want it to go to play in the background. Maybe it's a music clip, just a little sound clip. Again, you can double click to open up the sound panel, and let's say the clip's a little bit too long, a little bit like Audacity. You can edit from the beginning and you could edit from the end. We could use the razor to split that as well, but sometimes you just maybe want to shorten things a little bit. So I'll go ahead and I'll close that. So easy to add some audio to your project as well. The last thing I'm going to show you is just, again, covering just some of the basic things. Is let's say you're done with your video, you've done a little editing, and now you want to make the project available on YouTube. It's always good, of course, as you're working on a project to save it. If you go to File, Save Project As, you can tell, you know, the software where to save the project. By default, it's going to go into your Pinnacle Studio folder. So if you've got a folder somewhere that you store your multimedia projects, probably best to go there. Sometimes it's good too just to get a folder organized to put all of your content for your project so it's all in one location, just so you can find it. You name it anything you want. And notice it saves it with a .stx extension. That's a Pinnacle Studio extension, and that's not a format that we could use out on YouTube, but it is a format that you know, that the project itself is saved in, so that you could go back and edit it and make some changes to it later on. So always save your project in the studio format. I'll do that. And a little error prompt here. I'm just going to hit OK through that. That's not a problem. All right. Then let's say we're ready. We're done with our project and we want to put it out on YouTube. I'm going to click on Make Movie. All right, and you've got a lot of different options here. I'm going to have you choose file. Okay, we're going to create a file. There's a lot of different formats here, and Windows Media works well on YouTube if we're going to upload. There's a lot of different qualities, and I think just to start with, we'll go with a medium quality. If you go too low, it gets kind of pixelated, and so the medium works well usually when you want to upload to YouTube. We're going to come down here, we're going to do create file, and then again, it's going to ask you where do you want to save this project. And I'm going to go to my multimedia folder, and it's going to make a WMV file. That's the file format when you browse to upload to YouTube that we need to publish to YouTube. Name it, it picks up the same name that we had before, or you could change it to something different. I'll go ahead and hit save. And it's going to take a minute or so. It's best to walk away from your computer while the video is being processed or rendered. Generally, when you're working with video to video editing software, it's best to have, probably should have said this when we started, all your different applications closed, and just the application that you're working with itself open. Sometimes a lot of other windows open can interfere with the project itself, but when you're making the movie, it's always recommended that you just don't do anything else while the computer is making the project. And then, you know, when you're done, this one didn't take long because it was a very short video, but let's say you had 10 minutes of content. Of course, that's going to take a little bit longer. So we've got the Windows or the Pinnacle Studio file that I could go back. That's the one that's open right here and edit. But I also have a WMV file that could be uploaded to YouTube to make available for other people to view.